Welcome to Whiskey, Wine, and Wills, a podcast where we will explore topics about family, friendships, relationships, parenting, entrepreneurship, pop culture, tech, and more. My name is Jordan Jacob, and I'm joined by my law partner and lifelong friend, Michael Greenfield. Join us as we talk with fellow parents, business owners, athletes, influencers, and other community members about building and leaving behind a lasting legacy. A little bit more about Michael and I. We started Jacob and Greenfield because we saw a need for young professionals and young parents to be educated and get their estate planning done. Just getting something in place for their family now and in the future. We realized that this demographic was putting off talking about estate planning because it's not fun to talk about. It's not necessarily comfortable to talk about, but it is something that is ultra important, especially when you have kids, when you own a business, and you start becoming an adult. And so we're happy to have you here with our episode 1 of our podcast and webcast. And today's whiskey of choice, because this is Whiskey, Wine, and Wills, is one of my personal favorites, Buffalo Trace. So we'll cheers to episode 1.
Cheers.
Cheers. So since today is episode 1, I feel like this is a good spot for us, Michael, to introduce ourselves to our listeners and our audience. So my name is Jordan Jacob. As I said, I am originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and bred. Big Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, anything black and gold.
Except for Boston.
Yeah, except for Boston. I have a beautiful wife, Priscilla, and we have 2 little girls, Sophia and Isabella, who are my motivation for everything in life. And so, hey, girls, they'll be excited that I gave them a shout out.
Hey, girls, I'll give them one too.
And yeah, so why don't we tell us about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Michael Greenfield. I'm also a proudly born and raised in the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Bleed black and gold, just like Jordan. You might even be able to see my little shirt here. That's why the colors are black and gold for Jacob and Greenfield. Been down here in South Florida now for about 14 years. About the same amount of time I've known my beautiful wife, Samantha. And we are the proud parents to our son, Mason, who just turned 3 years old about 2 weeks ago. And, they are both why I do what I do, why I joined Jordan and, this partnership, essentially solo practice, why I left the big law world, to be there for my family and what we're going to talk about today, to build a real legacy for them. The goal of this podcast is, not to dive into what a trust is or what a will is. There's enough other people out there that do that. And we are proud of the fact that we're different. So the goal of this is to talk with people from all walks of life and amongst ourselves about what is a legacy and what does that mean. So I think for the first episode, the best thing we could do here is define what we think a legacy is. So to me, a legacy is something that is handed down from one generation to the next, or something that continues to exist and have an influence on people even after the original creator or owner is gone. And why is that so important? Well, for starters, it allows us to continue to have an impact on the world and the people around us long after we're gone. It also allows us to leave a positive mark on the world and be remembered for the good we have done.
For sure. And I also think leaving a legacy is about being mindful of the impact you have on others. Whether it's through your work, your relationships, or your contributions to your community, we should all strive to make a positive difference in the lives around us. Most importantly, though, I think leaving behind a lasting legacy is making a commitment to something bigger than yourself. It's about using your talents and abilities now to make the world a better place later. It's inspiring others to do the same, whether it's our children, our friends, our family, and our loved ones.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more with that. And, I truly believe that each and every one of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we come from, no matter what we do for a living, how big our family is, whatever the case may be, each and every one of us truly has the power to leave behind a lasting legacy. All it takes is just a little bit of courage, a lot of hard work, and a commitment to making a positive impact on the world. I think if we all do that, we can really make the world a better place and leave behind a true, lasting, meaningful legacy.
Absolutely. And so, part of leaving behind a lasting legacy is, what makes us human. It's our spiritual, our religious, our those beliefs, our thoughts, stories that we pass on, stories that were passed on to us. And I think one great thing to talk about when you are building a legacy is what was passed on to us. And I think that's something that we're going to definitely explore, whether it's today in this episode or in future episodes, talking about stories that were passed on. And when we have guests on in future episodes, asking them, what was a story that was passed on to you, or what was a lesson passed on to you, whether it be from a parent or a grandparent or somebody that you looked up to, your hero, your mentor, that had an impact on you that makes you do better in your life, and something that you would want to pass on to somebody else, to help them be better. So I think that's going to be a fun thing to explore for us.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that too. It's, like we talk about with our estate planning clients when we're creating a plan with them, it's, every family is unique. Every person's background is unique. Their upbringing is unique. And I think this podcast is going to be a very unique way to explore all those different stories, like you said, and those life lessons that people have learned, and what a legacy means to different people from different walks of life. I think it's going to really give us the opportunity to do it. I think it's going to be something cool and very special.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for all you viewers out there and you listeners to dive in with us on this subject.
Absolutely. And you said different walks of life. I'm part of a mixed religion marriage. My wife's Catholic and I'm Jewish. And it's interesting to see how she was brought up under her religion, and how that differs from how I was brought up under my religion, but how it's also the same. The lessons and the teachings, they're all similar in some way. It's really generally about being a good person. And that's how we raise our girls, is to be good people, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Christian. It doesn't matter. It's for us, it's about being a good person. And so that's what we're trying to pass on to them, as like the general, the macro. But when you dig down into the daily little lessons, it goes a little bit further than that.
And I actually love that, like watching you and Priscilla, because obviously, as Jordan, as you mentioned, we're lifelong friends. We're family. Jordan, I am obviously the godfather of your first daughter, and my wife Samantha is the godfather of your second daughter. And I always say, if we did godparents, you'd be in there for my little man Mason. But we didn't do that. But it's watching your family, and because I grew up Jewish background like you. I married a Jewish woman, but seeing you with Priscilla, who's Catholic, and Hispanic, how similar we are, and how our values, for Jewish, her side, how similar, like you said, just raising good people and being good people and giving back and just being good, positive members of society. Like that's all of our goals. We're all very similar, no matter the walk, like where we come from, what our background is. It's just, and I wish more people would realize that out there.
For sure. And when we talk about it, it just seems so natural that aren't all parents doing this? Like isn't everybody raising their kids to be like this? But then, you see all these tragedies where, just something went wrong. There was some disconnect between whether it be the parenting or the teaching in school, just their environments. And that's also part of it is creating a safe environment for your kids where they can learn, where they can explore, where they can be adventurous, but also, showing them what happens when you stray off that path and take a different route. And it's hard. It's hard as a parent to support your kids if you see them, going astray. But for now, when they're little, we get to mold them a little bit more.
Mold them as much as we can. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and one of those things that I think that you and I bonded on, and also our group of friends, is that we can have conversations like this. You do meet people who it's just surface level conversations. You don't get to dig deep and learn who they are. And that's something that we take from our personal life and our friendship and our family. And that we put that into our business practice, where we really want to build that familiar relationship with our clients so we can actually get to know them on a deeper level, and not just that surface level. And I think that's really important in how we operate, both on the personal and professional level, is to be able to have these conversations. And I'm really excited to bring other people into that conversation, because I know you guys do it. You and Sammy do it in your personal life with your friends. I know we do it with our friends. And then when we're all together, we're able to have these conversations together behind closed doors, not, filming it. But I want to bring those conversations out into the open. And I want other young parents and young professionals to see, like, hey, like, it's comfortable. It's okay to have these conversations. It's important to talk about these things,
right?
Because if we're all on the same page and this is how we're raising our children, we're molding that next generation.
Right.
And there's definitely a lot of other people out there like us and like you. And I just want, that's one of the goals of this podcast and webcast, is for us to show other people that are our age, our generation, that it's okay to have these conversations. I think it's healthy, and I think it's important to do so.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And that's why when I got to give you the full credit of, long before I joined you here at Jacob and Greenfield, you had the idea for this podcast. And the second you said it to me, I was like, we got to run with that. We got to do it because what you just said, it's bringing out those deep conversations and having those conversations with people about such important topics and about, legacy, life lessons, things like that. And at a minimum, for people who listen in, they may learn something new. They may learn a new lesson that they're like, wow, that's something great that I need to pass on to my kids. From who knows it, we're going to interview everybody from hopefully famous people to, just our friends who we love them, but they're not famous, and everybody has a different story and different lessons they've learned and different things to pass on. And if we can bring that to everybody, I think it's, like I said, it's just going to have just such a positive impact. I think, I don't even think we thought about how positive an impact this podcast could have before we started having this conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like thinking back, I just love the idea. I thought it was cool. Yeah. And now that we're talking through, it's like, wow, this could actually be something very, very special. I think.
Well, I'm glad you joined me.
We can imagine.
I'm glad you joined me in it, because otherwise it would just be me talking to the screen, and I don't think it would have as big of an impact, just me doing it. But I'm definitely glad that we followed through with it and got it started with episode 1. And, it's going to be more than just talking about parenting, right? Because we want to have people on here that may have older children or may not be parents.
Right.
And just having cool conversations about what got them into their profession, or why they started their business, or how they got into influencing, and just opening up those lines of communication. I think that's going to be really interesting. And I'm really excited for what's to come with this, because
I can't wait.
It's going to be fun for everybody.
The next episode too, with our first interview. More to come on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully people are going to be here listening, and
how they will.
That this is something that people are interested in, and if not, hey, it'll just be another excuse for me and you to talk about random stuff together
with our really cool microphones and headphones and equipment. Yeah,
exactly.
We're using them whether people join us or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
we're recording.
Just any excuse to buy cool tech is for me.
Yeah, and you're rubbing off on me big time with that.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Sorry to Samantha. Really.
Priscilla
already knows. She already knows. This is,
Give Sam more excuses to say I need to buy her something. Let's cut that part.
Exactly. Exactly. But no, I mean, this is good. So I think that we'll have obviously more to come in the future episodes, but laying the groundwork for where we're going with this, with the podcast, and where we're going to go with this, what we want to achieve here. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited, man. Let's do it. All
right. So until next time, I'm Jordan Jacob.
I'm Michael Greenfield.
And this was Whiskey, Wine, and Wills. Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh, I didn't have a drink.